What's up, guys? So back to business now that all that Comedy Central stuff is off my chest for now. And getting back into the swing of things, I want to do this video on the SeaTac stolen plane incident. And let's start with the official story. Now, I'm sure you've seen it. Awesome video footage out there about this plane getting jacked from SeaTac Airport in the evening at sunset and basically going for a loop-de-loo and crashing into an island. And the official story is that a suicidal mechanic, a 29-year-old guy, decided to just jack this plane from a busy tarmac, have enough skills to take it off, fly it at a low altitude, do some barrel rolls and some pretty good maneuvers, and then have a cool, calm, collect conversation with the air traffic controllers while he decided to just crash it into this random remote island. That's the official story. And again, I'm not buying it. So many things don't add up, don't make sense. How is he skilled enough to do these kinds of maneuvers at a low altitude and also take it off from a busy tarmac, just being a 29-year-old suicidal mechanic, right? He was joking with the air traffic control, having a very calm conversation while doing these maneuvers and being suicidal. One of the jokes was, he was like, hey man, why don't I just, can I get a job if I land this properly? And he's like, I didn't really know I was suicidal until just now. The audio doesn't make sense. And not only that, but it sounded pre-recorded when you listen to it. And that begs the question, could it have been of course, a pre-recorded conversation, but could it have been a remote-controlled plane? Was there even an operator in the plane, mind you? And also, I saw a point made somewhere that in an event like this, what should have happened is that the communications between the plane and the air traffic controller should have gone secured. So it was really weird that we could hear the audio recording and it was released so fast after the incident, right? And then, of course, it crashed on that random island called Ketron Island that I'd never even heard of before. I've lived in this area all my life, and I've never came across that name. It didn't stick out to me. So official story doesn't add up. Let's ask the question then, what really happened? Let's connect the dots and bring some logical thinking into this picture. And to help do that, of course, we're going to use Q. So Q right here in posts 1845 and 46 from August 11th, he posts a picture, they post a picture of the aircraft that was used in that incident. It was a Q400 Alaska Airlines flight. Q asks, Otis, catch the message? Think missile. Do you believe in coincidences? So, catch the message, quite obviously, it was a plane that was a Q400, and I have a photograph of the flight plan here as well. Dude did a Q over this remote island before it crashed, whether it was an operator in the plane or it was remote controlled, right? It wasn't a suicidal 29-year-old mechanic. We're dropping that story already. So my thought is that it was an operator with a pre-recorded audio tape that was released to the public, or it was remote controlled. Could have been. And then it was just sent to do a Q over this island, which isn't random. We'll talk about it in a minute. And then crashed there. So Q400 does a Q in the air. And what other notes do I have about the oddness of it all? Again, the audio shouldn't have been broadcast. The F-15s were scrambled from Oregon, which is really weird. It's really far away. McChord Air Force Base is right there in the area, and the plane almost, kind of flew over it. They were actually asking him in the audio tape, pre-recorded, whatever, to land it at McChord, and he was making up some excuse in the audio tape and then crashed on the island. So it's weird that the F-15s weren't scrambled from McChord there, right in the area. They were scrambled from Oregon. And also, let's talk about the pilot's name. So the pilot's name was released as Richard B. Russell. Okay, so it was released to the general public, but that's just the optics. Again, what does that actually mean? So let's paint the picture here. Richard B. Russell, that name leads us to the USS Richard B. Russell sub. It was a Sturgeon-class attack submarine, and it was named after a senator from Georgia, Richard B. Russell. Well, this sub was actually decommissioned in Bremerton, Washington. Now I'm going to show you a map of this whole scenario here so you can see where the missile was sent off, so you can see where the sub was decommissioned, and where Ketron Island is and all that. So let's go to Google Maps, right? Let's check the area out here. So first of all, the missile. Let's actually take a step back and talk about that missile. I don't think I've mentioned it enough in depth here. So think missile, as Q said here, right? Well, let's do that. So the missile was this right here. As I'm sure you remember, a couple months ago now, beginning of June, was that missile that was sent off around Whidbey Island, and it was photographed. A lot of the mainstream media called it a helicopter or made up some BS for the public, but really it was a missile sent off directed at Air Force One. It was an assassination attempt. Right after that, Q said, reverse image search, think hack, and posted a picture of a sub. So what that then leads us to believe, if we have the pilot's name of this stolen SeaTac airplane being Richard B. Russell, and the Richard B. Russell was supposedly a decommissioned sub in Bremerton, Washington. So back to the map. This is where that missile was sent off. Photograph was taken from right here, tip of Kitsap, and the camera was pointing north. So the missile was sent off from this area. Now, mind you, this is where Naval Air Station Whidbey is, okay? And NAS Whidbey does not have missile launch capabilities. So putting the pieces together, Q says, think hack, picture of a sub. A sub what was used to launch that missile, okay? We had a sub used to launch that missile, probably from out here near the Naval Air Station, to the left of Whidbey Island, or it could have been between Camano Island and Whidbey here. This is probably the area of the sub, this general area. Again, photograph was taken in this direction. So think missile, probably launched from a sub. My thought is that it could have been this sub. Now, this sub was supposedly decommissioned and scrapped in 2003. The Richard B. Russell in Bremerton. Back to the map. Bremerton is right here. This is Bremerton. PSNS, that's where they do a lot of ship work. And then Bangor is right here, where they keep the subs, okay? Keep some nuclear subs out there. So, mind you, going full circle here, okay, this sub could have been not scrapped at all, could have been kept off books or something like that in this area, in either Bremerton, Bangor. We've got Everett over here. That's another naval station. So could have been kept in some off-the-books area around here and used for that missile launch. So Q, in this plane incident, saying think missile, I'm thinking this whole plane stolen, suicidal dude, they say, stealing it off SeaTac and flying it into an island. I think it was a white hat operation as either a sort of payback for this missile incident, or it could have been to disable something. I've seen that theory thrown out there, but I think it was just a grand showing, a big old middle finger from the white hats to the black hats here, and some guys might very well be laughing their asses off after pulling this operation. But I think it was payback for that missile incident, and you can see all the communications here, Q400, Q in the air, calling it Richard B. Russell, probably letting us know that that was the sub that was used for the missile incident. And then, of course, last piece here, the crashing of this plane into Ketron Island. Remember, Ketron Island. So let's go back to the map. Ketron Island is down here. So this is about, what's that, 60 miles or so? 50, 60, 70 miles south of where the missile was launched. This is Ketron. Down here, it's actually right next to the McChord Air Force Base that I mentioned, a little south-southwest of Tacoma, and then Seattle up here. So this is Ketron, this tiny little island, and it's pretty remote. Once I started looking into it, I saw that a ferry only goes there twice a day, I think, and there isn't much on there, just a couple roads that are admitted on Google Maps, and pretty much nothing else. We can go to the satellite view. You can see those houses where the ferry comes in. There's kind of this, looks like abandoned ship and some abandoned cars. It's kind of odd, right? So Ketron Island, what some people are connecting that to is it could be some kind of elitist hangout or deep state just area, forest, people are noticing how Ketron Island is very close to another island called McNeil Island. McNeil Island is actually a housing for sexual predators. There's a holding facility on here for felons that have done those kinds of things. And not only that, but Ketron Island is home to what's called CLIP, the Children's Long-Term Inpatient Mental Health Facility. And this is a Twitter listing of it. CLIP stands for Children's Long-Term Inpatient Holding Facility, and there's a Ketron College that holds youth there. Mental health youth. So what I'm saying is it's a very prime location. If there's any, we'll say, weirdos out there, people are into sick kind of stuff, for them to do their sorts of experiments or things they do. Basically what I want to say here. I don't want to go too deep into that now, but you catch my drift. So that's Ketron Island, and if the white hats were wanting to expose anything on that island, how perfect would it be to steal or remote control an aircraft, do a big queue around the island that would scare the shit out of anybody on it, and then crash the plane on the island. So then when the investigators come in, boom, right there, right in, if it were a deep state territory, boom, right there to start figuring some things out as to whatever's going on there. So that's my research that I want to share with you guys on that SeaTac incident. Definitely, of course, it's never the official story, never is, but you can pick up things from the official story and see the real story that they're trying to tell us in the official story, you see. And it seems to me to be a white hat op that was payback for that missile launch, that assassination attempt 2 months ago. I am curious as to what is on Ketron Island. I'm actually thinking about doing some sort of just like grassroots doc, like a quick 20 to 30 minute expose on the actual area, and go to Whidbey and go to Ketron. Maybe just take the ferry to Ketron. I don't know how safe that would be if it's a hot area right now. Or heck, I could even rent a boat or find a way to paddle out there. But anyway, that's it for this one, guys. I'll be back soon. Thank you so much for tuning in, all your support, hanging out with me here, live chats on my backup channel. I'll link that down below. Still have one strike on this channel. Goes away in a week, though. So once that's done, I'll be at a live stream here. This weekend, I'll be at the Dimensions of Disclosure Conference. I don't think I've mentioned that on my YouTube channel recently, but I'll be in Colorado this weekend. And after that, a lot of big things in the works that I'll let you guys know about soon. So thank you for your support on PayPal, on Patreon, and thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, and being awesome humans. Done.